You're listening to the Manning Up on Real Estate podcast with your host, Cameron Manning. We bring you the industry experts each episode who will help you man up on your real estate career.
Good to go. All right. Okay, well, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming out on a Tuesday after a long weekend. You know, that just shows me the people who are here today actually care about growing their business, actually care about being that agent who's going to take it to the next level and take market share. Because that's what it's all about right now. Is we're in a market where agents are leaving the business. There's a lot of people who I'm talking to who are having their worst year ever. And I'm talking tenured agents who've been in the business 20 plus years. And the conversations I'm having is they're saying, this has been the worst market I've ever experienced. And our team is experiencing our second best year ever. Obviously, 2021 was our best year ever. I mean, it was everyone's best year ever. But we're experiencing our second best year ever. And that's because we are actively taking training, actively doing what you're doing and coming out to learn new things that enables you to implement. But more than implement, it's to really, truly execute on what you're learning and put it into practice so that you can go and take market share. Because here's the thing, we've probably all experienced or seen this in some class or another. But if you've got, let's say, 200 agents doing, let's say, 2,000 deals, okay, and all of a sudden, let's say 2024, and people are leaving the business, and let's say there's 150 agents in 2025 in an area still doing 2,000 transactions, the per agent transaction goes up, meaning these guys who stuck it out, they're gaining more sales by sticking it out and earning more market share. So that's what we're going to be covering today is 25 different skills that you can incorporate in order to gain market share, increase the number of sales you're doing, and at the end of the day, impact your life and your family's life. Now, out of these 25 skills, I don't expect everyone to implement all 25 tomorrow. My recommendation is out of these 25, pick 3 that resonate with you right out of today that you know that you can walk out that door and execute on the minute you walk out of this class. Then you're going to take 3 more that you're going to work to execute on throughout the rest of the year. So it's okay. These 3 I'm going to implement right away. These 3 I'm going to execute on by the end of the year. And then 3 more minimum that you're going to work on someday down the future. Now, if you can get to the point where you're working all 25 of these skills, you know that your business is going to absolutely, completely change. So we're going to dive right into it. Now, these 25 skills, these were presented to us while we were in Traverse City at the Glover U retreat. This is a Jeff Glover training. And hey, welcome. And honestly, these 25 skills are not things that you might 100% think about as stuff that you have to know or do to be successful in this business. But as you start thinking about it, you're going to be like, that's really, really interesting. Now, number 1, you guys got here right at the right time. We're going to dive into it right now. Number 1, skills that agents need to win in the new market is the skill of improving our image. Skill of improving our image. This is something that I don't think a lot of agents really are focused on or think about, but really it goes across a lot of what we do. When was the last time you actually did a social media audit? How do you look like? How do you present yourself on social media? How do you present yourself in public? What does your car look like? I'm not talking that you're driving the nicest car, but is it clean, right? If someone looks into your front seat and they see, 10 bags of wrappers of your, because you're constantly eating out, they're going to judge. People judge us. And I'm sorry to say, but this is one of the most judgmental businesses we can get into. People are always going to be looking at us and judging us. We are listening to one of the agents who was on stage, and he talks about how he gets his car washed and buffed and the interior detailed weekly. Okay, he is making sure that every single time he drives that car, it looks immaculate. Now, again, he does live and deal in the luxury market. However, shouldn't we be delivering a luxury experience to every single one of our clients? That should as well show how we show up. How do you dress, right? Are you dressed for the appointment? When I wake up and I go into my office, I am always dressed as if a client's going to walk into that office, even if I don't have an appointment. Because if you're dressing up like you're going to go on an appointment, there's a high likelihood that while you're working, you end up finding that appointment, right? If you're doing what you need to do consistently every single day. How do you carry yourself? Again, as more and more consumers spend time online, they're going to judge us. So 2 questions to always ask yourself. is how can I change? What can I change? All right, so that's skill number one, the skill of improving our image. Skill number two, it's the skill of improving my sales ability. The skill of improving my sales ability. We all need to remember that how people make decisions is based on how you make them feel. And how you make them feel is based on what you say. And what you say can be built around one word, and that's scripts. How many of the agents in the room today are doing consistent script and role play practice? So that's something that's really making our team stand out, is we do consistent script and role play. So when I walk into a buyer's appointment, when I walk into a listing appointment, I know exactly what to say, and I know exactly how to handle their objections because we practice it regularly. So to help you guys out with that, I've brought some stuff for you guys. For those who are in the room, those who are on Zoom, sorry guys, you're gonna have to DM me. I have here the script books that our team uses to practice what we talk about with clients. So every single one of you guys will get one of these books. Go here, grab a few more. So these script books, I have found, now I've gone through the bold scripts, I've gone through other scripts. These scripts, in my opinion, have become one of the best resources for my team. Now, my team, we are a top 1% team in Greater Vancouver. We sell about 150 to 200 transactions per year, and a lot of it comes down to that we practice these scripts every morning. I host myself, so if anyone does want to come, it's in Port Coquitlam. I know for some of you it's a drive. At 8:30, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I host for my team a script and role play session where you can script and role play with myself. Everyone is invited if you'd like to come out for that, except for the guys upstairs. They don't get to come because they're being very rude. What's that? Monday. Oh yeah, my script and role play. I was like, these guys? Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8:30 a.m. So if you guys want to come, just let me know you're coming. I'm more than happy to have other agents join us. So in these scripts, what you'll find is that there's scripts on literally everything: past client sphere of influence, expired scripts, for sale by owners, listing presentation. This is the exact listing presentation that my team does when we're going into a listing appointment. And the conversion on these listing scripts that we have done has significantly improved. We walk out of a listing appointment with more listings than we've ever taken before. Now, not only that, that's not just because of the script. In September, can't remember which day it is, I'm going to be teaching a class as well on how you can basically convert the listing appointment before you walk through the door. So we're going to be teaching that in September, but these scripts are part of that as well. Okay, so again, this is a resource for you guys to use. If anyone would like a digital copy as well, feel free to message me and I will get you a digital copy. But what's more than that is when you're going through these scripts is understanding the logic behind every single question that's in the script, because they're designed in a specific way that actually gets clients to think about why they should work with you. And it gives you a specific reason to ask questions to gain more information. Now, one of the big things on improving your sales ability too is how many agents right now are focused more on buyers than sellers? A few of you guys don't. It's not like I've been doing a lot of buyers the last couple of weeks here, but keep in mind when you're dealing with buyers, you are an employee, because the people who own the listings are the employers. They take a listing and employ the buyer's agents to go around, do all the legwork to show the listings, and then eventually bring that offer. Listing agent, how much work and time and effort are you actually putting into that listing once you take it? Right? Not as much, right? Once you've done the hard work of getting it on the market, and then you're relying on the buyer's agents to do that work and bring the buyer. So you want to be an employer versus an employee if you want to leverage your business. That is a skill, right? The more listings you take, the more inventory that you control. And again, there's two types of people in this world. Okay, there's the people you know and the people you don't know. Which group's bigger? The don't know. So if you learn in your sales ability to lead generate for the people you don't know, your business can explode exponentially. If you're limited to just the people you know, your database, which is good, don't get me wrong, we're going to talk about some database stuff later today. But if you're limited on your lead generation to just people you know, you are going to have a limited business. So you need to work on your sales skills, grab scripts out of this book, learn how to find other clients, right? Whether it's hosting incredible open houses, we'll talk about that. Whether it's going after for sale by owners or expired listings, there's scripts for all of that. And to build your skills with these scripts, there's a way that you can do it. So once you go through, you select a script that you want to learn. I suggest the listing appointment script. Here's how you're going to be able to build the skill. 1, for 30 days, every single day, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, every day. For 30 days, you're going to write the script out. Okay? Take it, open it, write it out. For the next 30 days, you're going to chant the script. So you're literally going to like stand in front of a mirror or something, and you're going to look like a fool. Your family's going to laugh at you. That's okay, because they'll like the money that you're going to bring in afterwards, right? But where's the listing script? I'm going to pull it up. So what does it mean to chant? Where's the listing? Yeah, that's right. Pricing, common seller objections. Either way, Cal, do common seller objections. We're literally gonna, this is what chanting looks like. I'm sorry, I can't do that. 4 months is our company policy. It takes that long in some cases just to get a transaction at the closing table. Make sense? I can understand your concern, and I think you realize a company doesn't sell a home. It's the individual agent and or their team's activities. Let me ask you, do you feel I can sell your home? That's chanting. So for 30 days, you're going to stand in front of the mirror, stand where you're comfortable, do it in your office before you start your lead gen. You're going to chant. And for the next 30 days and beyond, you're going to role play. You're going to find a role play partner, and you're actually going to role play this. And that's what we do on my Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning sessions, is we actually role play. Have somebody give you objections. Because here's the thing. If you were to go to a brain surgeon, do you want them practicing on you when you're going in for brain surgery? Do you want them to have practiced prior to you going in for surgery? You want them to be very practiced, right? Well, then we should stop practicing on our clients. We should practice with each other so that we become skilled enough that when we go into that listing appointment, we already have these scripts internalized, and we can easily, they hit us with an objection, we can flip off the script, hit the objection, bring it back to the conversation. That is what it means to build our skills and our sales ability. All right. Number 3, the skill of connection through social media. The skill of connection through social media. It's no secret that if we want to build a business, social media is a tool that we can use that's going to have significant impact on your business. Now, I'm not saying we're all going to become major influencers, right? We're not all going to be, on YouTube with millions and millions of views. If that happens, congratulations. I've been working at it for 7 years, and I did have one viral video on TikTok, 6.4 million views, and it didn't get me any business. Okay, but what social media does for you is 2 things. 1, it does help your appointments. Okay, if you have a very clean and very consistent social media presence, when you walk into that listing appointment, I guarantee they've already done the work of Googling you. They have found you. I went into a for sale by owner that I converted, and the first thing she said to me is, I saw that video on your Instagram. Now, again, this was a cold call. Cold for sale by owner. Hey, I see you're on the market, blah, blah, blah. Got into the thing. First thing she says, I saw that video you posted. I was like, okay, great. Video? Yes, it was, thankfully. Okay, but the bigger part of social media, though, is that you actually have to use it as a tool to connect. So the problem is most agents are focused just on posting, just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold, just listed, just sold. It gets ad nauseum. I don't even post my sales anymore, not like that in format. What you need to do is actually go in and start connecting with people. So go into your Instagram, go into your Facebook, go into whatever, start leaving your 2 cents. How many of you have heard of Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V? A few people? Okay, a couple. So Gary V is basically the top guru when it comes to social media marketing. The guy, his company is a marketing firm that deals with companies like Coca-Cola and large, Fortune 500 companies. He is the one who creates their creative. And he's also got a major brand himself. And he's got a strategy called the $1.80 strategy. And the $1.80 strategy is basically go on social media and leave your 2 cents on as many posts as you can that add up daily to $1.80. Right? So that's a lot of comments. So, but what that's going to do is 2 things. One, if people well, the more you comment on their stuff, the more the algorithm is going to show your content to them. So as you post, they're going to see your stuff and you're going to be front of mind because you're actively engaging with their profiles. Secondly is which group's bigger, the have-nots or have-nots, right? Go find people on social media that are talking about something that is relevant to you, whether it's a hobby that you have, whether it's real estate, whether it's whatever, and go and leave your 2 cents on their comments, right? Go and comment on their stuff, okay? That could increase the opportunity of one, maybe they'll follow you, then they'll see you, you'll be front of mind when they're thinking about real estate potentially, but you're basically trying to actively use social media as a tool. It's not just about posting your sales, flexing on everyone that you sold something. And then again, the more focus on engaging versus posting. Now, again, posting is very important, but the more focus you put on engaging, the more conversion you're actually going to have because you've built legitimate connections through social media. So the agents that are winning at a high level, it's not because they're posting more, it's because they're engaging more, okay? Which ties into skill number 4, okay? Skills that agents need to win in today's market, yep. Mm-hmm.
So when you say comment or so these are just people you follow or
both, right? The group that's bigger is the ones you don't follow or who don't follow you, right? So you go into the search, type in something that is relevant to you in any way, and then go under those posts and comment. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And a lot of people follow you.
Mm-hmm. Yep. If they're following you, I mean, I don't follow everyone back, but you can still go and create value for them by commenting on their stuff. Even a DM thanking them for following you can go a long way, right? Hey, just noticed you followed me. Thank you so much. What was it about my content that made you want to follow me? Ask some questions, get some engagement, right? So it's all part of that skill of creating true connections with the people that engage with you on social media, okay? All right, so skill number 4, again, ties into that, is a skill of being an entertaining person. I think there's days where I think I'm a little entertaining. Gemma might disagree. Depends. I make her laugh once in a while. But when you're entertaining, people will stop and engage. I highly recommend looking up a gentleman by the name of Bob Tompkins. He's an agent. He is absolutely, in my opinion, crushing it in the social media short form video game. Like, he was just on stage recently. Kelly was on stage as well. They were sitting next to each other, and like his videos are so freaking funny. They get so much engagement, and he's actually converting a lot of sales because of it. And half of it, he's basically just disparaging himself and the industry, but it's actually in a way that people want to engage. Like, he did one recently where he sat down, and this is relevant, and it was, I want to buy a home using AI. And all of a sudden the AI goes, okay, analyzing your finances. It goes, I didn't give you permission to do it. Okay, I'm making an offer on a house. Oh, I see you're looking for dungeons. It was hilarious. And basically it shows why, and you still want to use an agent. AI is not there yet. This is why agents are still relevant. It was freaking funny as hell. So again, being entertaining, sometimes you're going to have to go out of your shell. One of my coaches, Greg, he talks about how you got to create an alter ego. Okay, so when you're someone face-to-face, when you go online, you basically have to become 10 times who you are, right? So bring out that personality, kind of go crazy on social media a little bit, because we're in a culture right now where people on their phones just go like this, right? So you have less than 2 seconds to engage them. So you have to learn to be entertaining right out of the gate. Okay. Tompkins. Tompkins. Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V. He's also got some incredible books out. He just dropped a new book right now called Day Trading Attention. I'm like partway through the book right now. It is basically a manual on how to crush it in social media. And that was the name of one of his past books, was Crush It as well. Okay, where are we at? Number 5, right? Okay, this one's especially for the agents who are newer in the business. This one's a good one, but for all of us, number 5, the skill of getting over yourself quickly. Right? So that goes for both what we talked about before with social media, but also the fact that you need to gamify rejection. So one of the sales companies I was with when I was in my late teens, early 20s, they basically said they had a tracker that was like, how many no's can you get? And you had a goal to get to 100 no's, because they said if you got to 100 no's, there's a guarantee you're going to get a yes. And in that yes, you're going to get a big sale, right? So when you're doing your lead generation, especially when you're talking to the people you don't know, you want to gamify the rejection. You call for sale by owner, and hey, you know, I'm so-and-so from Keller Williams Realty, F off. Okay, no worries, move on. You don't want to then say, oh God, this guy just told me to like go F myself. Like, oh, I'm so shattered. No, who cares? Gamify it. See how many times you can get that comment. Some teams I've seen, they actually do a competition where whoever gets the most like no's wins a gift card at the end of their lead gen times, right? It's not that obviously, you know, you don't want that many no's. Don't go out of your way to make people say no, but gamify it. Don't worry about rejection. And the same goes with your social media, right? Get over yourself. I have posted some absolutely cringeworthy content, and sometimes that's the content that gets the most engagement. Like I said, my video, you can check it out on my TikTok. It's pinned right on the top, has 6.4 million views. And I was like looking at this, I'm like, I really shouldn't post. This is just so stupid. 6.4 million views. It's insane. So, but it's not just the views. That's irrelevant. But I have gained with that one video, and it continues after a year. I continue to get new followers from that video every week. It's the new followers that are now engaging regularly because of it, right? Okay, so that's skill number 5. Get over yourself quickly. Skill number 6. Skill number 6 is skill of writing great copy. The skill of writing great copy. So when it comes to copy, this includes a couple of things. One, what you actually write, your blog posts, your posts on Facebook, anything like that. But it also goes to the script that you use when you're speaking on camera. So to help you guys out with that, I'm going to give you another resource from Glover U that we've been using on our team. And this is the Stop the Scroll copywriting formula. So this formula is a great resource to use as a guide to be able to see, like, say, how am I going to actually write up my blog post? How am I going to write the script for my next video? So we'll go through it quickly. See, this is the benefit when you guys come live in person. You get a lot of free stuff. Okay, so we flip to the inside. When you're thinking about your copy, you're writing great copy, the first thing you got to start with is a hook. Okay, again, when we're talking about like people scrolling, what's the one thing that stops you from scrolling? Well, there's something. Hey, have you ever thought why people do this or what have you, right? Something grabs your attention. That's the hook that holds you to the video. So writing a good hook, and at the back of this, I'll show you a copy of it. Writing a good hook is what you're going to use to grab the attention of someone to stop on your post, stop on your blog, stop on anything that allows them to say, okay, I'm going to give this a chance. And that's what it is. It's just a chance. Don't expect that your hook is going to hold them all the way through, because you also have to be engaging and entertaining and give good value and everything else. But the hook is what's going to stop them. Number 2. Now, this is dependent. You'll see at the bottom it says optional, but your introduction. This one's not necessary in every post, but it's absolutely necessary when you're doing like live videos on Facebook. Give your hook. I bet now you didn't think it's a good time to buy real estate. Hi, I'm Realtor Cameron Manning, and we're going to talk exactly why now is the best time to get into real estate. Okay. Number 3, you're going to give supporting info. This is absolutely mandatory. You need to actually support your hook. So I bet you didn't think now's a good time to buy a property. Well, did you know that interest rates are actually starting to come down? And when interest rates start coming down, well, what do we think happens with prices? Prices are going to start to rise. So now is exactly the reason why you want to lock down the property, because you can always get a lower interest rate later, but you can't renegotiate the price. Number 4, testimonial. This is exactly what just recently happened to my clients who bought a property in Port Coquitlam. They knew that as they saw the properties coming down, they needed to get into something. And in fact, because the property was on the market for 30 days plus, we were actually able to negotiate that price even lower because we did it now. And they're going to be able to benefit when those interest rates continue to go down. And then number 5 is your call to action. So if you want to be just like Ray, you're going to want to get into the market right away. Give me a call. My number is 604-365. Follow me, subscribe to me, shoot me a DM, whatever the case might be. And then in here, you'll see here, there's the story worksheet. So this is going to help you create your scripts. Use this to help design it. So what was the last successful transaction you had? What were the obstacles? What was the solution? What outcome, what happened for your client? These are how you start creating stories that you can post for your social media. And then lastly, here you go, 80 hook examples that you can use. Things like, I can't believe what I just discovered. 5 things you can do right now to improve. How many of you guys stop on those, like 5 things to do now? I wish I knew this when I was in my 30s. I watched that one a lot. What's that? Exactly. Stick around for the last one. Yeah, exactly. So that's an example of some hooks. So great tool for you guys. So this is something my team has started implementing into their social media. We bring it up. We talk about it regularly. And for those who do know me for a while, you guys know that I do a lot of stuff on social media. So this has actually helped me. And I've been doing this for 7 years. So, okay, we're going to move off of social media a little bit, some different skills now with skill number 7. And I think this was a very important one for us to talk about. It's a skill of hitting 8% with our database. The skill of hitting 8% with our database. So what is 8% with our database? Well, I'm going to give you guys an unfortunate kind of news flash. Your clients are not loyal. Even if you've known them a long time. And good case in point, I just found out a client bought something that I've known for like 4 years, but I failed them by not being in regular contact with them. So we need to make sure we make a goal to get 8% conversion out of our database every year, because that's the industry standard right now on the high side. It used to be 10%, but with more and more, as we see the attack on our industry continue to happen, more and more buyers are self-educating themselves. YouTube is a great tool to go out and do things on their own. So we need to make sure that we're creating enough value for our database that they always think about us when they're trying to buy or sell. And the loyalty of our people in our database is being tested more than ever. So what are things that we can do to add value to our database? Let's just do some brainstorming right now, and then I'll kind of give you guys some ideas of what we've been doing. What can we do to add value? Really simple thing is, pick up the phone, reach out. Yeah, that's 5 people a day. There you go. Go through your database. I mean, they teach in Bold I can't remember what it's called now, the D2, D3, I think they're D2 something. Basically calling 2 letters of the alphabet every day kind of thing, right? So start by calling your A's and your Z's and your B's and your Y's, right? So there's like a whole formula that they teach. So that's really simple. Just contact them. Be in regular communication with them. What else? What's that? Drop-bys, right? Especially if you're in the neighborhood. Yeah, I was just in the neighborhood. Just want to say hi. How's things going with the house, right? Super simple, little touch. Maybe even bring like a little gift card or something. Hey, by the way, I have like a $5 gift card, bring some Timbits or something. Give little gifts, right? That's actually a good one too. Give little gifts. So one of the things that our team has been implementing bit by bit is what's called VIP boxes. So every single month, we take a portion of our database and we send a little gift of goodies. So one of them that we sent was a little like at-home pizza maker kit. So it had like dough and toppings in this little box. We made sure we included like the little rolly cutter thing and a few other little goodies to make pizza. And so I picked the ones of my clients that I specifically knew had young kids to have like, hey, have a pizza fun night on us, right? it costs, I think, $15 per box or something like that. So it was super cheap. So I picked like, 20 clients and sent that to, right? Yeah. Yeah. Put it all together and then ship it to the client. We just sent it in mail, right? Another one that we did recently, this one's a super cheap one, is this one I did to a higher, more clients because it was cost me $2 per, was for St. Patrick's Day, just a little card that says, "I wish you a lot of luck today." And then we put a $1 scratch card in it, fire it off. So that's now I hit like 100 or more clients at one shot, right? Super cheap, cost me $200. So these are little things that you can do to create value. What are some other things that we can do? Here's one that I'll give you. Our team is really trying to up our game on this, but client events. What are you doing to bring as many clients as you can in one spot? So at the end of this month, we have rented out the Yaletown Brewery in Yaletown, and we're hosting a big client event. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. I was like wondering what you're. So we're going to be hosting a brewery event. Last year we did it. We had about 100 clients who came out. This one obviously is for our adult clients, right? We do one for the kids as well. But this is a way that you can have like a great time with them, right? So we have appies, we give them a drink ticket. They want more drinks, they can pay for it on their own. And we're in the process of planning and doing it right now. And what's more than that, here's a little trick, because this costs like 10 grand to do, so it's not cheap. Get sponsors, right? So our lawyer just committed $2,500. We've had our accountants giving $750. So we came up with different tiered levels of sponsorship. We sent it out to our vendors that we refer to regularly, and we have them basically pay for the event. So now suddenly you're creating value for your clients and it's costing you very, very minimal. So that's another great thing. So something that we are doing is we've created through the training we got through Glover U is a quarterly database plan. And in that database plan, we include things like an email, a postcard, a phone call, client events, if there's a client event coming up. And basically every single VIP boxes, every single month, there's ideas that we give to our agents that they can do to make sure they hit their database. And even if it's hitting a portion of their database, they're hitting that portion and consistently every single month. And that's in an effort to make sure we get an 8% conversion. Now, the 8% conversion, what it basically is that if you have 100 people in your database, you should expect to do at least 8 deals out of your database with 100 people. The more people in your database, the larger that pool is. So think about how big your database is. Do the percent. How many deals should you be getting every single year if you're hitting an 8% conversion out of that database? Thank you, Gemma. Okay, so the next one is one that I get a lot of pushback from a lot of agents, but I think is very vital in our market today. And I think it's an area where agents who really focus on this can actually yield a lot of business. And that's the skill of hosting open house events. Not just open houses, skill of hosting open house events. Those who are hosting open houses in the new market, you just got to raise. The amount of clients and unrepresented parties who are coming to open houses right now is significant. The amount of conversations I have, the amount of leads I've got. Now, again, some are leads that are going to transact and some aren't. It's a numbers game. But I just had one where I picked them up at an open house, and less than 3 weeks later, we got an accepted offer on a property. They're closing in 2 weeks. So there are buyers who are actively looking. And here's the key thing that they told me. This is the best feedback you can get from a client. This goes back to scripting, right? The scripts that I use. When I found out that client wasn't interested in my unit, I immediately followed the script to set a buyer consultation with them. And a week into the search, we go and look at another place that they were interested in, but the agent was so forceful to try to get them to buy their property that they kind of were turned off from it. I offered value. I offered a service to help them. And next thing you know, we still ended up buying the other one where the agent could have picked up the client, right? So follow the scripts that you're given, and you'll find that it's not about selling your open house, okay? It's about picking up leads. Because again, most of those properties that sell are going to be from a buyer's agent bringing the buyer. So your job is to look for those unrepresented parties. Now, if they're interested in your unit, awesome, sell. That's obviously your first thing, is to sell the unit. But if you find that they're not there, the second thing is this is a lead generation source. So the value of an open house has just gone up in the new market. Now, keep in mind, a percentage of those people who come through your open house, what do they have to do as well? They got to sell. So now you've picked up two, like another listing and a buyer. And then you'll use that one and leverage that open house and continue the cycle. It is the cheapest. Having an existing listing is your cheapest form of marketing right now. And open house gets you in front of potential buyers. Now, we were talking about it earlier. I have a listing we just listed, staged, beautiful. Saturday, 9 groups through. Yesterday, 0. So what do you do with this dead open house? You can't guarantee it. Post it on social media, right? Nobody knows that you had a dead open house, but they see you working that, hey, I'm hosting this property. Here's what I'm doing for my sellers. Here's how I'm adding value. And guess what? They're going to be watching that. And this is, you also want to create in-depth relationships in the community. Now, there's an agent that I know. He's a good friend of mine, Troy, out of Texas, Troy Chase. He does open house events like I've never seen anyone do open house events. Now, this is to the extreme, but the conversion is now happening for him, and he is dominating his community. That's what it means about like really getting in tight with the community. First and foremost, before his open house, Friday, he flyers the entire neighborhood. So his team does like a flyer night. They do over 100 flyers in and around the neighboring community. And all they do is they take like a 8.5 piece of paper, put the open house info, hey, come by, check it out. And I'll tell you what the secret is with this as well. And he takes a little bit of painter's tape and he just tapes it to the doorknob. Painter's tape because he doesn't want to cause any damage, because that's the last thing you want is them to get mad that you taped something to their door and ripped off the paint or something. And he says the conversion on that is actually more impressive than what he actually does at his open house. But what he does at his open house is he creates an event out of it, and he has a food truck, an ice cream truck at his open house. So every single weekend, one of his brand new listings has the ice cream truck, and everyone in the community is like waiting for the ice cream truck day. And how he's done it as a lead capture way, it was actually brilliant, is that he's got a tent out front. He's got 2 agents at the open house plus an admin. So there's people. He gets about 60 to 100 people through his open house, even in the dead markets. Now, again, it's not that obviously he's trying to sell the house, but it's not about selling the house. He's there to capture leads. 60 to 100 people, well, they have to give him a phone number and an email, obviously their name, to be able to get the code that they go over to the food truck to show the code that they've registered for their free ice cream. Brilliant. So every single weekend, he's picking up like 60 new leads. And obviously people are just coming for the ice cream, but then you also have people coming for the open house. So it's a mix of both. But it's the fact that he's now got all these other leads in his database that he can now market to, right? So it's very, very brilliant. He really is the epitome of the event. If anyone is going to Mega Camp, I know Troy, he just posted he's going to be on like some breakout talking about his open house events. So it's pretty excellent. Okay, skill number 9. Skill number 9 is the skill of following up relentlessly. Skill of following up relentlessly. How many people have heard of speed to lead? Okay, you get let's say a REW or a realtor.ca, you want to call them right away. Online leads, they have a shelf life of like 5 minutes, right? Speed to lead is important. Well, at the end of the day, speed to lead is important, but the person who follows it the most will have the greatest results. Okay, especially if you don't get a phone call, or if you phone them and they don't answer, you got to keep following up. So I'll teach you guys a little trick here, and I get a lot of pushback on this, but I think it's probably one of the most important ways because it's going to show that you're a professional, and it's called the 3x3x3x3 method. 3x3x3x3. And what that is if you get an online lead, speed to lead is important, call them right away. But if you don't get them, you don't catch them, you're going to call, you're going to text, you're going to email, all 3 of those 3 days in a row. So 3 calls, 3 texts, 3 emails over 3 days. Now that might seem like it's overkill, but guess what? Most people don't notice. Why? Because how many of our phones are constantly going off with random texts, phone calls, emails that we don't like, we just like swipe, ignore, delete. By the time you hit the 6th time trying to contact or 7th time, they won't have realized that you've called them or texted them or emailed them that many times. But you know what they're going to do is 9 times out of 10, the agents who are doing this at a high level, people go, oh, we're so sorry. We saw you would call. We meant to call you back. Thanks for calling back. Right? Speed to lead is important, but the following up relentlessly, following up consistently is more important. Frequency is more important than speed to lead. So if you want to be successful in this business, in the new market, following up, just follow up more than anyone else. If a client goes to an open house, okay, and they leave their information, more times than not, they're doing a day of visiting open houses. You're not the only agent they're meeting. So you want to make sure you convert that client, follow up more than the other agents that they met. When should you follow up on an open house lead? What'd you say? Yeah, like literally right after the open house, right? So, you know, if they just came at like, yeah, you know, here's one that's going to really take to the next level. Videotape yourself. Hey, Jim, thanks for coming by the open house. Really appreciate it. By the way, I did just see 2 other properties that are similar to this one that I wanted to share with you, especially if you don't get their contact, like you know, maybe you got their phone number, but not their email. What's the best email to use? Think of ways that you can follow up right out of the gate, because again, while every other agent is waiting till Monday morning to do their lead follow-up, you have already beaten them to the punch, okay? Okay, here's one where I'm gonna write some things down. Do we have like a eraser, or is it just this? Okay, yeah, I just don't wanna, sometimes those are rough on these. I don't wanna. All right, this is gonna be very key in the new market, especially as we get into some of these next ones. Things are really changing rapidly in real estate, in organized real estate, especially in the US. And let's be realistic, what happens in the US tends to come up to Canada. How many of you are up to date on what's happening with the NAR settlement? Okay, a few of you guys. I really recommend getting up to date with what's going on. The NAR settlement has basically meant that things are going to change in the way commissions are handled in the US. And while we're up here, and I've heard a lot of Canadians say this, well, that's in the US. We're up here in Canada. By the way, the lawsuits have already started up here in Canada that led to the NAR settlement and changing how things are working. So these next, these next several skills, while they might not be 100% like today, it's something that, well, if you start being prepared for it, it will actually impact your business now. And our agents on our team, we're actively talking about this. We're actively looking at ways to make sure that we're positioned now. So number 10 is the skill of treating the buyer process no differently than the seller process. The skill of treating the buyer process no differently than the seller process. So what do I mean by that? Sellers, buyers. So you have seller lead gen. You have buyer lead gen, right? So we're calling for sale by owners, expireds, like we're calling our database. Over here, we're hosting open houses, we're marketing, we're, you know, calling follow-up leads, okay? Over here, you're gonna have a seller pre-qual script. And we're gonna have a buyer pre-qual script. And we're going to talk about some of this stuff on the listing side at my next class, but having a pre-qualification script is a skill that if you build, you're going to go on less appointments. Oh, shouldn't I be taking more? You're going to go on less unqualified appointments, which leaves you open to more qualified appointments. Okay, you're going to have a seller pre-appointment package. We have a buyer pre-appointment package. So we have been working the seller pre-appointment package for a while now. We have really dived deep into that. And we didn't think about it until we heard it. And we're actively building out our buyer pre-appointment package right now, something that we're going to send out in advance of the appointment. You have your seller presentation. You have a buyer presentation. Right? We're all script and role playing our listing presentation to make sure that we've really dialed it in. You need to make sure you're actually dialing in your buyer presentation, or another term for it is our buyer consultation, right? Some people call it a consultation. Okay, you're going to have seller objections. And you're going to have buyer objections. So when you're doing your script and role play, you're going to role play handlers for both buyers and sellers. What are some common questions that buyers have that I can have a script to overcome? What are my common seller objections? Okay. So seller exclusive, AKA our MLS contract. I'm spelling that wrong. There we go. You're going to have a buyer exclusive contract. I'll be the first to admit, I was really bad. Like, I'm still really bad at getting buyers to go under contract. But as things change in our industry, especially if the stuff that's happening down in the US does come into Canada, it's going to be very important to make sure you have buyer contracts moving forward. So maybe we should start getting in the habit of doing these now, right? In order to make sure we protect our commission. At the end of the day, we're all doing this to earn an income. And if for whatever reason the laws change and we're not sticking with it because we're used to doing something an old way, right? Oh, don't worry, you don't have to pay me. Well, if the seller doesn't have to pay you either, guess what? You're not getting paid. So we got to get comfortable having people under contracts that state you're going to get paid. So help sellers understand the value of offering concessions to the buyers to pay their agent. That's going to be something that's going to come up. So in the US right now, just to kind of do a bit of a sidebar, while the concept of paying a buyer's agent out of the commission that you're charging is technically going away in the US, we can still do it here in Canada. If that settlement goes through similar to the NAR settlement up here in Canada, sellers will no longer be obligated to pay for buyer's agent commission. When we're charging our X on the first 100 and X on the balance, and we're splitting part of that off to the buyers, that could go away. So what's going to be important is making sure that your sellers understand the importance of offering what's called a concession to help cover the buyer's agent commission. Okay, so what that means is that you're not obligated, but let's be honest, if there's buyers who are looking at houses where someone's going to help cover their closing costs, aka maybe the commission, they're going to go towards maybe that property a little bit more, right? It's kind of confusing. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but just look up what's going on in the US. Okay, skill number 11 ties into that. The skill of handling new buyer objections. Skill of handling new buyer objections. So new objections are going to come up, especially as they see what's happening down in the US. Hey, I don't want to have to pay the buyer's agent. I shouldn't have to. You know, do you see what's happening down in the US? Yes. Well, that's what's happening down in the US. But if it comes to Canada, making sure you understand the new objections, the new buyer objections as well. What's happening, like they're saying, I don't want to buy a home right now. Interest rates are too expensive. How do you get over that? We kind of talked about it. How do you come up and internalize these? You write them, you chant them, you role play them. Okay. Skill number 12. And again, this ties into the NAR ruling. And like I said, if it happens here in Canada, we're prepared for it. Number 12 is the skill of getting the buyer to pay you. Okay. When you're in your buyer consultations, explaining how the buyer agency agreement works and how you get paid. And that you're going to do what you can to get the seller to pay. And again, so far in Canada, we're still lucky. If you go to a listing, they're still offering a buyer commission. But if that changes, you're already practicing these scripts. You're already getting comfortable with no longer saying to a buyer, oh, don't worry about it. I work for free for you guys, right? Because that could go away. And if a seller is not, if they want a property and the seller is not offering a commission, you have to be prepared to ask for it from your buyer. So I'm going to leave it at that. Number 13, the skill of keeping our mindset strong during change and chaos. Skill of keeping our mindset strong during change and chaos. The greats are going to say, I got this, and they're going to keep moving forward. So what can we do to make sure our mindset stays strong? Let's just brainstorm this a little bit. What can we do to make sure our mindset stays in a strong position? Podcasts, right? Great tip that I heard recently is, Monday through Friday is 5 days. Pick 5 different podcasts you listen to most come out weekly anyways. So maybe find one that you like that comes out on a Monday, one that comes out on a Tuesday, one that comes out on Wednesday, and you have your set podcasts you listen to. driving to and from appointments, to and from the office, whatever you're doing, right? What else?
The realtor Facebook groups.
I would say be cautious with those. Okay. So pick the ones that are less gossipy and more adding value, right? So I would say avoid a lot of Facebook groups because, I mean, to be honest, like how many of you guys are part of BC Realtor Corner? That one drives me nuts. It's nothing but bitching, moaning, and complaining in that one nonstop. I'm like, okay, get over yourselves, people. Okay. What else? Absolutely. Be in rooms like this, right? Come around other groups of people who are positive, who are, motivating, who are uplifting, who are going where you want to go as well, right? Get yourselves into more rooms, get yourselves to conferences, right? I mean, the energy you get going to a conference where there's like 1,000 people or more and they're all getting inspired, we're all getting motivated, it's infectious, and that's what you want, okay? One more thing I like to say is avoid watching the news, right? Like, I mean, I don't even have cable anymore. The only news I look for is like relevant stuff that I should report on to make sure my clients stay up to date, right? Oh, the tenancy laws changed. Oh, they changed again. Well, that might be negative. It's news that creates content for me that people need to know. But I'm not sitting here watching the midnight news where they're talking about, this person killed so-and-so and that person did this. I'm like, I don't need that stuff in my head. So I avoid that, okay? So there's a lot of things we can do to build our mindset. And we got to really think about it. And who you spend the most time with is one of the key things. If you spend a lot of time with people who are negative and constantly complaining, guess what? What is it? John Maxwell, I think that says it. Like you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? Well, you're going to be that next negative, complaining person. So get in a room, get with people who are motivating. They're talking about business. They're talking about growth. They're talking about mindset. Right. Number 14. The skill of communicating your value to consumers. The skill of communicating your value to consumers. How good is your value proposition? Why should someone choose you? What makes you different than other agents? Especially if you're going into a listing appointment where there's going to be 2 other agents, 3 other agents all interviewing. What makes you stand out so that you get the business? Okay, so, because again, a lot of times, especially when you're going after the people you don't know, they don't know you. So you need to have something as to why they should work with you. Identify your actual value versus your competitors. Guys, go and investigate who your competitors are in the area. If you're looking to dominate, and we'll talk about hybrid farming in a little bit. If you're looking to dominate a specific community, see who the player is in that community. Who's the one on the bus benches? Who's the one getting all the listings? Why are they getting all those listings? Like really go granular into what they're doing and how you can create value that someone would say, you know what, I'd rather go with you than that person, right? Welcome to a competitive business. That's what we're in, right? So, there's an agent that I was listening to, Taylor. She was killing me. She's like, she decided to become the expert of a neighborhood. And she basically goes, there was another agent who's been dominating it for 20 years. She's like, I'm a new agent, newer. She goes, my goal is to get him out of the community and me be the one person that everyone thinks about. She goes, the fact that if I see a listing go in that neighborhood, that's not me listing it. She's like, it should pain me that I'm not connecting with that neighborhood enough, right? So how do you create that value proposition? How do you talk about your value? How are you getting your value out there? Is it through advertising, marketing, door knocking, talking to neighbors, hosting events? And how do you get consumers to know that they need to have what you have? How do you portray that to people? How do you show them that you're the go-to person? You're the agent they should hire. How do you get it out there? So you got to think about those things. Okay, we're over halfway, guys. So we're just at about an hour. So we're doing pretty good. So we might, depending on timing here, end a little early, which I'll let good because then you guys can go and implement, execute. All right, number 15. The skill of getting your clients to talk about you as a buyer or seller's agent. The skill of getting your clients to talk about you as a buyer or a seller's agent. One of the funny things that I see, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong if this is actually working, but I see at the bottom of people's emails where they go, the greatest gift that I can get is a referral. How many of you guys have actually had success with that? No, that's why I don't have it on my emails. Okay, so actually find ways to get them to talk about you. And this goes back to what we talked about before, that getting that 8% conversion out of your database. It's not that 8 people out of 100 are going to buy or sell that year. It's about who they know, right? The average person knows about 150 other people, right? So if you've got 100 people in your database, that's 1,500 other people that you can connect with out of your database. How do you get them talking about you, right? Again, creating value for your database, giving them those little gifts that make them think about you. Something that we're implementing right now is the minute we take a listing, I'm working with my marketing and my operations team to basically send an email saying, hey, here's your listing. Also, here's the marketing that you can post to your Facebook, right? So give them what we're going to be posting, give it to them, have them post it, right? It gets your name out there. Not only that, hey, this is your property. Share it with your friends. Wouldn't it be great if you could sell it to someone you know and help them out, right? Who knows? So what can you do to get clients to talk about you as their buyer or their seller agent? And that gets you more potential referrals. Okay, so next one is market dependent. And I think we're in a market where there's a lot of potential. Now this can change, right? But it's the skill of working for sale by owners and expired listings. The skill of working for sale by owners and expired listings. Now, especially down in the US with the changes around NAR, it's going to create more expireds and more for sale by owners. Up here in Canada, if we follow suit, that's also going to change. But again, this is really dependent on the market. If we're in a very heavy seller's market and things sell really fast, we're not going to be as much value to a for sale by owner because they're going to say, well, if a realtor can sell it in a week, I can sell it in a week. And they're probably right because there's just such a lack of inventory. But if we're in a more balanced or a buyer's market, one, we're going to see more expired listings hitting the market. And we already are. So go after those. There's no reason that they have to go with their other agent that they already listed with, right? Show them another way. Show them why maybe a different perspective is what they need to sell a property. And a for sale by owner, well, they're going to be stubborn on their first week, but after 5 weeks, they might open up a little bit and they might be willing to work with someone. Now, traditionally, price and condition are the reasons why homes don't sell, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's price versus condition. This is too expensive for the amount of work I have to do, or this is undervalued and it sells really fast, right? No matter what, like I had this conversation. The market's not great, but I went into a multiple offer with 10 offers here recently. And that's because the agent really lowered the price because they needed it sold fast. They started at $915, dropped it to $875. After 4 months, they dropped it to $750, sold for $880. So it actually sold above their last list. At the end of the day, the market will always balance. If you underprice a listing drastically, I know we were having that conversation the other day. If you underprice a listing drastically, the market will balance itself. There will be enough buyers to bring it back to market. But if you overprice a listing, it's going to sit there. And that's your opportunity as an agent, is to look for those overpriced listings, watch when their expiry is, and go and knock on their doors. Hey, maybe it's a time for different perspective. Now, in the States, this could happen. It's not guaranteed, but the third reason a property might not sell, and if Canada follows suit, we have to be ready for this, is the fact that maybe they're not offering concessions to buyers to cover the buyer's agent commission, right? So again, if a buyer is looking at 2 properties, price and condition are going to take effect in their expenses that they have to do to buy a home. If this property over here is offering a concession to cover the buyer's agent commission, and this one is not, and they're similar price, similar condition, similar home, the buyers are going to look over here because it costs them less to buy the home, right? So if that happens up here in Canada, we have to be prepared to have that conversation with our sellers to still offer a concession. We're not offering a commission, we're offering a concession. That concession could be whatever it is that you decide to offer, but it's going to help a listing stand out. And again, this is all happening down in the US. And like I said, lawsuits are up here. Be ready to double down and triple down on these sources because they will be more of them in the new market. And identify 1 per week that you're going to work to get into the strategy. So if you're saying, okay, I'm going to focus on for sale by owners, because I don't want to have to like drive around because it is tough in Canada. Let's be honest, expireds are a little tougher. You actually have to get to their door because we can't get their contact information as easily. For sale by owners, they're a little more easy because they actually put their phone number like, hey, call me, right? So identify one per week that you're going to start to get in. If you've already had some past success in this, it's time to go all in. Okay, so if you've already done some for sale by owners, if you already had some success in expireds, it's time to go all in on that source and really try to dominate it. Add it as another pillar into your business. Okay, number 17. The skill of creating a new schedule and actually sticking to it. Skill of creating a new schedule and actually sticking to it. Now, for those who have seen some of Glover's events, he's gone through his like morning schedule for Monday through Wednesday plus weekends on how to sell 100 homes per year. What he's realized when he was on stage covering this is that most agents are not going to be like him. Most agents aren't going to try to sell 100 homes a year. So instead, come up with a schedule that you actually are going to stick with that will help you be more successful. If your plan is to go from selling 15 homes a year to 30 homes a year, your schedule needs to change to accommodate that increased level of activity. What's it going to take? Maybe you don't have to be in calling at 8 a.m., but maybe you're in by 9 a.m. making your lead gen calls. Here's the thing. Most agents get into this business for two words: freedom and flexibility. And that's ultimately why they fail, because they don't have structure. Right? I mean, the amount of agents that I know are like, I want to quit my job and be a realtor because I can set my own schedule. I don't have to work that hard. I can do what I want. And then 2 years later, they're back at a job where they never actually left that job. We get into this business for freedom and flexibility only to realize that the successful agents are very, very structured. They don't have freedom and flexibility. They're structured, right? So just stick to a schedule that you know you can stick to, right? Really dial in what that's going to look like and actually work it at a high level. When are you doing your lead gen calls? When are you doing your follow-ups? If I'm doing door knocking, when do I door knock? Make sure, like, I use Google Calendar and I fill out when should my targeted listing appointments be. If I'm lead generating in the morning, this is when my target's going to be. If I don't get an appointment, then I'm going to fill it with door knocking or whatever, right? So stick to a schedule that you know you can work. All right. This next one here is a checklist that our team has already been implementing. And it's the skill, number 18, skill of getting 2 sales from every listing you take. Skill of getting 2 sales from every listing you take. Now, again, as I mentioned, listings are your cheapest way to market. You've already paid the expense to market them. Leverage these listings to get more business. Here we have our team's 2-for-1 checklist. These are 10 ideas on how you can get more business from your listing. So we'll run through it at a high level. Again, you guys come to the live classes, you guys all get goodies. Now this checklist, Jeff and his team, they just implemented a week prior to the retreat I went to. And before the retreat was over, we had already created our version and implemented it for our team. So that's what you call execution. So 10 ways to get the most out of a new listing. 2 transactions from every listing you take. Number 1, make coming soon a requirement on every listing you take. Now follow board rules for that, of course, but determine the day that you want to begin your showings. Work backwards to determine the coming soon date, Monday or Tuesday, and schedule photos with enough time to have them finished before the listing goes live. Right? If you're in some private groups, might not be technically you got an MLS sign, but why not go? There's like a couple of private Facebook groups for exclusive listings. Post it in there 3 days before it goes live. If you've got the listing signed, you're already in contract with the client. That's one of your coming soon things you can do. Number 2, get sellers out to see homes right away with you. The biggest mistake I see agents make is, well, we're going to wait till we have a contract on your house. So we want to make sure before we start looking at homes that we have your property under contract, because I don't want you buying a home before you've sold yours. Big mistake. Why? Because if they aren't out shopping, they're going to be less likely to give you a price reduction if they found that home that they really, really want, right? So incorporate a buyer's consultation at the listing appointment, set up their search immediately, and schedule showings to see what's out there, right? Get them motivated, get them excited. People don't move because of money reasons. They move for emotional reasons, right? The money is just the byproduct of actually selling the home. They're moving because their kids are growing up and they need more space. They're moving because the job transferred. They're moving because they want to get into a new school district. They're moving because, the only time they're moving for money is when they're like, behind on their payments, right? Most times they're moving because they have some motivation to upsize, downsize, do something else, right? Kids have moved out of the house. The house is too big for us. We want to downsize and travel. So get them out searching for that type of product right away, because what happens is, again, if the property is not selling right away, it's going to be easier if they've already found a home that they really like to get that price reduction, to get the property priced well enough to get it sold. Notify the neighbors about a new listing. Go door knocking, circle prospect, notify when pending and when sold. You got 3 opportunities to go door knock the neighbors. Take your listing, especially if it's detached, go 10 one way, 10 another, and 30 across the street, and let all the neighbors know. Just listed this property. Guess what? We just got an offer on the property, but there's more buyers that are looking in the neighborhood. By the way, we just sold. So if you want to keep track on what's happening with the value of your home. Number 4, host an open house. Follow an open house plan. Facebook Live while you're at the open house. Show your social media. Hey guys, I'm here live. Follow up with follow-up plan with all attendees. Number 5, work any incoming leads. Practice ALM. ALM stands for appointment, location, motivation. So it's very different. Most people want to have a buyer consultation up front. No. Someone wants to see a home. You're going to go show that home right away. You're going to set that appointment. Then in your follow-up, you're going to talk about their location, what they want, and their motivation. 3x3x3, we already covered. Notify them of open houses scheduled. Use your listing as a social media tool. For every listing you take, you have a minimum of 3 opportunities to post or talk about on social media, and should make below part of your checklist. Post something teasing before the listing goes live, coming soon, the front of the house, a video of the neighborhood, whatever. Post something while it's active or pending. Open house event, offers received, inspection issues that you overcame, and post something during or after the closing. Take a client photo, video, share results of the listing, welcoming the new owners, whatever the case might be. Number 7, if your clients are moving out of town, refer it to another agent, get a referral. Number 8, take advantage of the honeymoon phase. Ask for referrals from your active clients. This is where most agents make the mistake that they wait for the transaction to close, and then when they're a past client, they ask for referrals. Ask, again, how many of you guys have heard of the reticular activating system? Right? That's where, like, if we buy a car and we're like, we've never seen anyone driving this car, and then you buy it and you walk off the lot and all of a sudden everyone's driving that car. It's the same thing. When they're thinking about buying or selling, they're going to run into people who are also buying or selling. It's going to pop up more. So take advantage of that honeymoon phase. 7 days of them signing a contract with you, 7 days when the listing goes pending, and 7 days from closing is when you're going to ask for referrals. Use the listing as a reason to reach out to your database. Yeah, I know you know a lot of people in blank city, so I wanted to bring our new listing to your attention. We have a great new listing at blank city. Do you know anyone who's looking to purchase? And list the buyer's home who's purchasing the listing. So again, many buyers out there, they come in, they need to sell their home as well. So you get a listing out of that. Okay, so take every opportunity to get referrals from sellers. Send emails with links to your marketing, MLS websites, attachments for them to post, your reels that you're going to post, let them post it as well. Always look to pair buyers with my sellers and sellers with my buyers. So just wondering who might also be looking. Okay, that's number 18. Number 19. Skill of a buyer understanding their buying power. I realize we don't have that, so I was going to bring you guys my buying power checklist. What I'll do is, if you guys all send me a text with your email, (604-365-9771), just text your name, email, and buying power checklist to my text. I will send you a copy of our buying power checklist. What a buying power checklist is it is essentially a checklist that goes through different parts of an offer and how we can make their offer stronger so that we can have it stand out. It doesn't even matter if you're in a multiple position or not. This is still a good exercise to run through And it also shows your buyers that you're a professional, that you have tools to help them get things done. The buying power checklist helps with buyer retention. Again, the more you go through these tools, the more you have things. When you start working with that buyer, they're more likely going to finish the transaction with you. We've all had it, especially in our early careers, where we start working with a buyer, and then for whatever reason, they kind of ghost us for a bit, and then you find out they bought with someone else, right? It's like the most worst feeling in the world. Having tools like this will help you with the retention. It helps get offers accepted, and using a buyer power checklist as a resource to advertise to generate leads. Hey, does your agent have a buying power checklist that helps you get offers accepted more quickly? Maybe you ask them about it. If not, come over and check out what we do to help our buyers get more offers accepted more quickly. Okay. In the new market, this is going to be very important, but it's the skill, number 20, the skill of promoting your buyer success stories. Skill of promoting your buyer success stories. We're so very focused. And again, keep in mind, agents who take listings are employers, and agents who work with buyers are the employees. There's that concept. But when the market is shifting and you're taking a lot of listings and the days on market are getting longer, it's a good idea to work with buyers, because buyers are a lot faster commissions in a lot of situations. So don't be afraid to work with buyers, even though we talked about that concept before. But the skill of promoting your buyer success stories. This is a new concept to me that I'm like, okay, how do I start tracking this? I have to start doing it, because this is a really good skill. And we all know what DOM is, right? What's DOM? Days on market. Well, we need to start tracking our DOS, days out shopping. Okay. And I got some smirks, and I smirk too, but it's actually a great thing, because if you can say, hey, I met this client at my open house, and in 12 days, we got them pre-qualified and got them under contract, that's good marketing, right? That is a good success story for your clients. From the time you meet to the time they get the offer accepted is your days out shopping, and start tracking this with every single buyer, start accumulating these numbers, and you can actually come up with an average that you can promote during consultations. Well, Mr. Buyer, did you know that my average days out shopping is around 15 days? And hey, by the way, if you are interviewing other agents, maybe you should ask them about what their average DOS is. How many others are tracking that? Right? There's a tool. So as you start working with buyers, literally, this is something that I would say, if you're looking at any of these 25 skills, this is an easy one that you can execute on the minute you walk out of that door. The next time you meet with a client, or if you've got any existing buyers right now, count it backwards from when you met them and start tracking that. Okay, I met them on July 15th. We're on August 6th right now. So that's what, about 21 days so far? Okay, gonna track that. When did they get that offer accepted? Have a spreadsheet, right? Little something simple to track all this. And then you come up with your average, and now you've got something to market. Skill number 21. The skill of being aware of where you are and the ability to make adjustments quickly. The skill of being aware of where you are and the ability to make adjustments quickly. Just like these guys adjusting whatever they're adjusting upstairs. Skill of being aware of where you are and the ability to make adjustments quickly. What do we mean by that? Well, first and foremost, we need to have a plan. How many agents, and again, this is not a shaming thing or anything, just being truthful to yourself, and you don't even have to put up your hand. I just want you to mentally think about this. How many of you guys did a business plan at the beginning of the year? Okay, a few of us. How many of you guys have done a business plan halfway through the year? Okay, how many of you guys do a third quarter business plan? Okay, you've been doing Glover training. So what do I mean by having multiple business plans? Well, when you set your business plan at the beginning of the year, your mid-year and your third quarter business plan are more of a check-in. Am I on pace with the goals that I made for myself? I wanted to make $150,000 this year, and halfway through the year, I'm at 50 grand. Am I on pace? Not likely. I'm about $25,000 behind my target. What do I have to change in my business to be able to catch that up, or do I have to readjust my goals? Right? We have to be realistic with ourselves where we're at financially. We are in a business, so we need to treat it like it's a business, right? And so be very aware of where you are, production, production-wise. Now, see if I can erase this. I'm going to show you guys something that we got shown recently, and we are starting to incorporate things. Oh, this is erasing very nicely. That's okay. And this is what's called a cumulative board. Cumulative board. And here's how it looks like. Whatever your metrics are that you want to track, so whether it's contacts, let's say it's like listing appointments set, list appointment met, right? Because setting a listing appointment doesn't mean you'll actually go on it. Sometimes it cancels. So what's your ratio between your set to your met? Right, we can go by, appointment set, by, appointment set, any listings that you took, listings sold. Okay, so basically any metrics that you're looking to track that's important to you in your business, like I said, we can go all the way down to things like closed deals, closed volume, even closed GCI, right? Because obviously that's the most important thing, how much money we're actually making, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to basically break it up. You're going to have a big board and you're going to go January, February, March, April. And then on this, you're going to say what your N and A, all the way down across all these, right? N, oops, A, boom, boom. So January, beginning of your year, you want to sell, let's say we'll come down here. I want to sell 50 units. Okay. Sorry, my goal of the annual is 50. So 50 divided by 12, what is that? Is that 260? Okay, fine. So you got to sell 5. Now let's say in January you sold 3. Well, what does that mean that what your February goal needs to be? Well, you're short 3, so you need to go 5 and 3, 7. So I now need to target selling 5 units. And again, you're going to have all your parameters, and you're going to do your needs versus your actual, carry over the difference, right? So you're going to say, okay, 5 is my target every single month. I did 3, 7. Okay, let's say I did 4 here. Okay, now in March, we've still got a short of 3 plus 5. Now we need to sell 8. So this is a cumulative board. What is the purpose of a cumulative board? Well, it creates awareness. You set targets for yourselves. You set business goals. Now you can actually see how on track you are for those business goals. You're going to be basically put it up in an office space where you're going to stare at it every single day. Basically create almost shame for yourself. Be like, crap, I got to go out and get 5 deals done this month. I got to get 7 deals done. Oh my God, I'm behind, right? So there's agents who are working this at a high level. When I saw this, I was like, man, this beats my trackers. Like I got trackers galore on spreadsheets and everything. I'm like an old school whiteboard where I put this up and I'm looking at this every single day. Boy, that's going to motivate me to say, I got to get on top of my numbers. I got to get on top of what I need to do or what I know I need to do to be able to be successful. 9 times out of 10, if you're not hitting your lead gen goals or your closed deals and your GCI goals, it's because of something up here. I'm not making enough contacts. I'm not setting enough appointments. I'm not going on enough appointments. And here's what can help with that. Scripts, right? So if you're not setting enough appointments, something in your script is not working. Something in what you're saying is not converting. Or maybe you got to change the contacts. Maybe the source you're working is not a source that converts at a high level. Like maybe you're working Facebook leads as an example. Well, out of every 100 leads that you get, you might actually connect with 1, and they might not be ready to buy or sell, right? Whereas maybe you work for sale by owners, you're going to get maybe a higher conversion out of that, but maybe there's less of them to call. So you got to work your lead gen strategies to maximize your contacts. And then from there, every single one of these is just working the proper scripts. You're really good at setting the appointment and going on the appointment, but you're not closing them at the listing table. Well, we need to work on your listing script. Okay, so all of this can be tracked backwards. Now, what's really good about this is when you start doing this, you're going to see your monthly conversions. and you will see where you're weak and what you need to work on. We do a lot of coaching with our team around skills. One of the number one things, like literally, if you guys were to see the tracker, I'll see if I can pull it up here. We have something like this, but it's a spreadsheet, so I can use it to track our agents when I'm doing my coaching with them. Just try to pull it up here if I can, just kind of walk around the room with it. Let's go sales, oops. So this is what I have all of our agents fill out every single week, similar to a cumulative board. Okay, in there, you'll see if I can zoom it in. Come on, well, let me zoom. Basically, every single day, they're going to enter in how many dials they've made. Out of the dials, how many contacts they actually connected with. Then they're going to indicate how many listing appointments they set, how many they met with, how many they signed. Did they have any deals actually go under contract? And then from there, on the next spreadsheet, it actually gives me their conversions. So I can then, in my coaching, I can say, you know, Seema, you've been doing really well. You've been setting a lot of appointments, but I'm not seeing a lot convert to listings. Let's maybe sit and really dial into what's going on. Maybe show me your listing appointment, right? So this is a tool, even if you don't have a team or someone who holds you accountable, you can hold yourself accountable to that. Now, again, kind of a side note, this is maybe an extra skill, extra bonus. Find someone to hold you accountable, right? Find somebody who you can report to with your numbers, and they can actually give you a little bit of that shame. Hey, you said you were going to do this, but you're not doing it. What can we do to improve that, right? Okay, number 22, skill of touching the appointment 5 times once it is set. The skill of touching the appointment 5 times once the appointment is set. Again, if you're going to compete against other buyers agents or other listing agents prior to the consultation, what can you do to stand out? Well, most agents, yep, I'll see you on Wednesday at 6 p.m. 6 p.m. rolls around. Hey, good seeing you again. Haven't talked to you in 5 days. If you can get into the skill of actually having reasons to follow up prior to the actual appointment, you're going to build rapport. And when you've built rapport, you have a higher chance of converting the client to want to work with you. So once the appointment has been set, the consumers, they begin doing their research. They are also inundated with other listings and agents and other info coming to them. So make sure that they know you're a resource. Find reasons to be more in touch before the actual appointment, right? One of the things that I'll be teaching at my next class is the pre-qualification call. So you've set the appointment. Now we have another call, another reason to call them prior to the actual meeting. Build as much rapport with them prior to the meeting as you can. So when you're walking into the door for the appointment, they already have made a decision whether they're going to work with you. Now you're just there to provide more technical information. That's all you're doing. Buyer consultation. Here's how the buyer consultation, here's how we're going to buy a home. Here, we're going to start with search. We're going to then go and look at homes. We're going to shop and maybe look at maybe 10 to 12 homes max before we pick one of the homes. Then we're going to put an offer in. Here's how the offer is structured. That's the reason for the appointment, but they've already decided to work with you before that you met with them. Okay, number 23, we're on the home stretch. Mastering, the skill of mastering all 5 prospecting methods. Skill of mastering all 5 prospecting methods is really simple. Number 1, mastering the phone, call or text. What you say on the phone, how you text people can increase your conversion. Number 2 is at the door. If you're going in circle prospecting, door knocking, hybrid farming, you're even knocking expired listings. How do you build this skill? How do you master door knocking, being at the door? Mastering emails. How do you structure your emails? That's 3, emails. Okay, what about newsletters? How do you get more open rates, right? How do you make your newsletters engaging? You got to master that. 4, or D in my thing. Social media. How do you engage with people on social media? How do you prospect with social media? And E or 5, direct mail. Direct mail is not dead, folks. It's just how you do it. The amount of stuff that comes into my inbox from other agents that looks exactly the same as every other agent's, it just goes right in the bin. I don't need to always see your sales. How can you create value when you're sending out direct mail? We'll talk a little bit about that during hybrid farming. Okay, another last resource, seeing as I forgot the buying power checklist. We'll go this way this time. There we go. There we go. Thank you. So again, this is a brand new tool that was just given out at the event that we were at, and we have already taken it, incorporated into our marketing or into our checklist for our team, for our agents. This is a script as well as some ideas. And that is the skill of creating great content and following the copywriting method. We're back to this. They're in no particular order, that's why. So capturing content for 3 social media posts per transaction. So you'll see here, there's a little script that you can use because everyone's a little nervous about whipping their phone out and starting to record, especially when clients are in front of you. Again, we talked about it, skill of getting over yourself. Stop being nervous. Here's a little script that you can use. Agent, from time to time, this is for buyers or sellers. From time to time, you'll notice I'll have my phone out capturing footage for social media. I'm doing this to make those in my circle aware of typical real estate situations. By doing so, it draws more attention to my business and can many times lead to me finding out about homes that are coming on the market before they even do so, which could wind up benefiting you. Okay, you can reverse that and say, could sometimes allow buyers to see your home so that they can come and check it out, right? Fine, oh yeah, no problem. At any time you don't want to be in any of the photos or videos, just let me know. Additionally, any footage that I captured during our experience together, I can send to you at any time, right? Sometimes there's those special moments where like, oh yeah, they get really excited, they want it, right? You know, everyone wants to be an influencer now, so do your clients. I find my clients like having their home selling/buying experience documented for memory's sake so they can share it on social media, maybe even offer to create them a reel. Client will say, you know, hey, I love that. And you know how it goes today. If it didn't end up on social media, did it really even happen? Right? So there you go, script. On the next side here, you'll see possible buyer experiences. These are just examples of things. Door knocking or mailing the neighborhood. I have a buyer. Footage out house hunting. Buying power checklist being used to get an offer accepted. Great marketing tool for you guys. Inspection footage, appraisal footage, unique loan programs, walkthrough footages, closing story or testimonial, key exchange or move-in. Seller experiences, teaser footage coming soon, preview listing before and after work, staging, open house, neighborhood spotlight, multiple offer process, appraisal issues being solved, closing story testimonials, how to capture it, video, photos, real stories. If your idea of being active on social media is posting images made by the company or a site like Canva, you are going to get left behind. So just be aware of that. So how do you master creating video? Real simple. First things first, we're going to write our copy. Nope, this is part of, it's still part number 24, yes. So just utilizing this, how do we master creating video? We're going to write a piece of copy once per day, right? So we're going to use the stop the scroll thing. We're going to actually build out a script once per day. We're going to chant that piece of copy. Did you know that it's a great time to buy homes in Greater Vancouver right now? Here's why. My name's Cameron, and I'm going to tell you blah, blah, blah. Chant out the script that you write once per day. And how do you role play? You're going to send it to a role play partner. They're going to look at the video. They're going to critique it. They're also going to send their video to you. Now you have a role play partner for video creation. So you're doing your script and role play for your actual scripts, and you can role play getting better at video. The best way to practice is with each other and not on our clients. Now, in my opinion, don't be afraid if it feels cringy, post it anyways. Good example of that. How many of you guys know, you probably don't know the name, I'm gonna say it anyways, Dogface 420. Doesn't sound familiar? Kind of a weird name, right? That's the guy's name. Now, you might remember this video that went uber viral a couple of years ago, where a gentleman is on his skateboard drinking ocean spray cranberry juice while listening to, what was it? Oh my God, I can't remember the name. But basically, it went super viral. If you look it up, just type in Dogface420. So this guy has now gone uber viral. He was going on his way to his job. He thought the post was extremely cringy, didn't want to post it. Posts it, it goes viral, changed his life, right? Now the guy is like a social media influencer. He's getting paid by sponsors. Ocean Spray Cranberry paid him like a bunch of money or something like that. So you never know. The cringiest posts could be the ones that actually get the engagement. We are our biggest, worst critic, honestly. Now, I say that as somebody who's been his biggest, worst critic. And still to this day, like I watch a video back that people give me praise on. Oh my God, that video was so good. Oh, I saw that video. I go and like, I really wanted to delete that video because I didn't like how I sounded in this part, or I looked really stupid in that part. We are our biggest, worst critics when it comes to social media. At the end of the day, don't be afraid of it. Just post it. Okay. All right. Last one. Number 25. We are doing great with time. Skill of adding value to your database and executing on a hybrid farming plan. Skill of adding value to your database and executing on a hybrid farming plan. There's three ways that you can grow a database. Hybrid farming plan. Three ways that you can grow a database. One is by adding value to that database on a consistent basis, right? If you're actively working your database, you're actively communicating with your clients, they're going to refer you, and that's going to grow your database. You grow it by actually going out and lead generating to add to it, right? So door knocking, open houses, calling for sale by owners, expireds, hosting of community events, what have you. And number three, by doing both A and B, right? So adding value and adding people to it, right? So going out and lead generating to add more contacts and adding value to those contacts. One of the best ways that you can add more people to your database and actually become a neighborhood expert is by understanding hybrid farming. So the difference between traditional farming and hybrid farming is that hybrid farming, you're actually going to become that neighborhood expert. You're not just going around willy-nilly through a farm area that you're going to door knock every once in a while. You're going to maybe flyer. You're going to have a systematic approach to become the neighborhood expert in that area. So I have here 10 steps to hybrid farming. Step number one, create a neighborhood Facebook group. Gemma's already an expert. You have like 15 Facebook groups already, right? So neighborhood Facebook group. Now, a lot of neighborhoods already have a Facebook group. That doesn't matter. Start another one. Maybe have it a little nuanced, right? So Gemma, I know you do ones for like moms groups, right? Right, so good examples there, right? Maybe it's if you're like super into, I don't know, let's pick a sport, hockey, right? Maybe you have like the, Port Coquitlam hockey group or something like that. I don't know, come up with creative names, right? But develop a neighborhood group that you can start adding people in that community to. It's going to take a while. Now, this one's not going to produce you money right away. A lot of these hybrid farming are future business. Okay, keep that in mind. Number two, sponsor community events. Find 4 times throughout the year for what you can do to get in front of the community. Maybe the neighborhood has a neighborhood-wide garage sale. Offer to sponsor the signs for it, right? And create signs that you can reuse every year. Maybe it's a neighborhood pool day. Maybe sponsor to bring all the popsicles for the kids. Little things like that. Number 3, community give back. What can you do to give back to the community? Maybe you raise money for a new playground or something. Maybe you help with a neighborhood cleanup, right? Adopt a street, yeah. There you go. That's a good way to do it. You get your name out there. They see you out there cleaning. Get some sort of a shirt or a vest or something that's bright that says cleaning the community by realtor name, right? Number 4, postcards. But Cameron, you said you don't want people just inundating your inbox with crappy postcards with just listed, just sold. Here's the thing. You can absolutely just do just listed, just solds, which is number 5, sending just listed, just solds. But you can only do that once you've created enough value that they're going to look at your card because it came from you. So the first postcard you're going to send is infotaining. Infotaining. What does that mean? Good example of this one that I saw is someone does for National Cookie Day. They took their team leader and they said, this is Jeff's mom's home cooked cookie, like chocolate chip cookie recipe for National Chocolate Chip Day. Guess what? They found the thing on Google, right? But they just called it Jeff's mom's thing. And they sent out, hey, here's a great cookie recipe for National Cookie Day. Could be, let's say Canada Day. Top places to go check out fireworks close to our community, right? Could be, let's see, what are some other fun things that we can think about? It could be an event that you're hosting. You send a postcard about that. Hey, our team does an ice cream social event for the Tri-Cities. Come out, like you pick your specific farm and just say, hey, by the way, we're going to be giving away free ice cream from Rocky Point Ice Cream on this day, right? So once you've done enough of those postcards, plus additional things, like you're not just sending postcards, you're getting in front of the community, sponsoring, you're doing all these things, that then gives you permission to go just listed, just sold, right? Because you also want them to know you are a realtor. But because they see it's your postcard and you've already created a connection in the community, they're going to be more apt to actually open it and read it, right? Or take it out of the mail and not just chuck it out. Okay, if you're a one-off agent and you happen to sell one agent in a neighborhood, then you flyer the whole thing, that goes straight into the bin 9 times out of 10. Okay, open house events. Go above and beyond during your open house. It's not just about showing up and being present there. It's about doing something that stands out. If you're going to own that neighborhood, you need to do something different, right? So good case point that we talked about, Troy Chase has an ice cream truck at every single open house in his neighborhood. He also, I think he said, puts about 30 different directional arrows out and he flyers the whole neighborhood, letting them know about it. Again, it's not so much about the fact that he's doing the ice cream truck. He knows people are going to come. He's connecting with people in the community. So what he said, there's a great story that he told, which just blew my mind. Last January, February, somewhere in there, they had a massive monsoon in his neighborhood. Like it was like just downpouring. And he was heading out to an event in Florida. That's where we were. And so he says his agent called him and said, hey, I don't know what your thoughts are. Should we still go ahead with the open house? Everyone else is canceling open houses. The wind is really high, blah, blah, blah. He goes, well, we've already paid for the food truck in advance. So as long as the food truck guy is okay with being there, I mean, he's going to be under his food truck, let's still do it. In their area, they were the only, like one of 2 that hosted open houses. They still had the ice cream. They had a lineup of people waiting in their cars because obviously pouring rain. Lineup of people waiting in their cars to come get their ice cream, walk through the house. He picked up 4 more listings in the area. Why? Because he was the only agent willing to work during the monsoon. Now, he wasn't actually, it was his team, but he was in Florida with me. But their team, they said, no, we're going to do it rain or shine. And he got 4 more listings because of it in that neighborhood. So find ways to create events around your open house. Again, when you could sponsor, like let's say there's food trucks that are doing or a food truck day, have some sort of like a entry to like win. Like there's an agent that I saw, there was a food truck day. She partnered with one of the food trucks in the community to just have a little sandwich board that was sat next to the food truck that she sponsored to give away like a gift card for people who entered, because the food truck was also tied to like a big restaurant that was a big restaurant in the area. So like $100 gift card that she sponsored at the food truck to give away to someone in the community. So have draws, have ideas. Number 8, call them, pick up the phone, give them a call. Hey, here's a neighborhood update. Just wanted to keep you posted that we did just take this listing. We did just sell this listing. This one's under contract. Or we have an event coming up, right? Call the people in the neighborhood. Okay, next, community yard signs. Again, if they have big community events, such as like I mentioned at the garage sale, sponsor the signs. Hey, I'll pay for all the signs. Guess what happens when you get to pay for the signs? You get to design them, right? So you could have it for garage sales, but it has your branding, it has your contact information on it. And then let's just say you at the garage sale event, you can also let people know that if they want to host their own garage sale, you'll provide the signs for them for free. So now people have a resource that they can come to. You've already made them. Why not get multiple uses per year out of them, right? Next, last one, number 10, newsletter. Look into sponsoring the local newspaper for your community, right? If you're some communities still do local newsletters, see about sponsoring it. Be someone who advertises in it. Run ads. But here's the key thing that most people don't do is when they're running ads in a local newspaper, they make one ad and they pay for a year and that ad shows up every single month and it's exactly the same and it never changes. Make sure you change the ad every single month. Make sure it's adding value to them. It's not just call me for your local real estate needs. We all do that. Come up with something different. Come up with something valuable so when they're reading the newspaper and they stop on your ad, it doesn't look like an ad, but it is, okay? The more you do in a farm, the more market share you're going to take from it. If you become the go-to agent in that neighborhood, there's no reason you're not going to be super successful taking listings. Now, the parameter that you're looking for, okay, write this down. 5% turnover in a farm area per year. That's your target. Anything less, it's not as effective. Anything more, that's great, but your target should be looking at communities with at least a 5% per annum turnover. So if you're looking at 100 homes in an area, as an example, you should be seeing at least 5 sales happening in that neighborhood. How do you do that? Simple enough. You go on Paragon, put a circle over your area, go back a year, know how many homes are in that area, see how many sales have happened, right? There's 100 homes, should be a minimum 5 sales per year, and you can look back a couple of years to see if it's consistent. That's how you want to determine your farm area. It doesn't have to be in an area you live. Okay, I know an agent who goes 45 minutes outside his home area because he wanted to because it was a higher price point. Wanted to get into a higher price point. He owns that neighborhood now. And when he talks to people, he talks about, hey, we got someone who's moving into our neighborhood. We're going to be doing this event in our neighborhood. He has become part of the community there, even though he doesn't live there. They don't need to know you don't live there. You don't have to pick your backyard. And the agents who really understand this at a high level, once you've dominated one neighborhood and you've built a system where it's almost automated for you, you know what's coming up and what you need to do, you can then take on another farm and you can add more areas and start to dominate. You just repeat, rinse and repeat. Next thing you know, you've got 3 different farms that are turning over, let's say, out of 100 homes, 5 per year. That's 15 listings by just owning these markets, right? But start with one and don't expand until you've actually dominated that market. That during the sales, you are the one who's getting the majority of the sales, okay? That is the 25 skills for the new market. As I mentioned at the beginning, it's a lot to choose from. The best thing you can do today, and I'll give you guys maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes, sit quietly, quickly review your notes. I want everyone to come up with 3 today that they're going to implement the minute they walk out that door. Suku, do you have yours? Don't want to. All right, okay. 3 that you're going to implement. So just go look at them right now, quickly review them. And on the bottom of your page, flip to a new page, whatever it is, I want you to list your 3 that you're going to implement today. You're going to execute on today. Because there's no point coming to a class unless you're prepared to implement what you've learned. Okay? So take 2 to 3 minutes and let's do some implementation. Well, I'll listen to the sounds of the banging. If you want to take it to the next level, if you've already picked your 3, indicate how you're going to execute on it. What can you do today that you can actually implement it when you walk through the door? For example, it could be, I'm going to write my first script by reviewing the stop the scroll formula. It could be that I'm going to master the listing presentation. I'm going to do that by starting with writing it out every single day. It could be, I'm going to go to an ad lib class and learn how to do comedy for my videos. Learn how to do, not ad lib, but improv. You know, he was pretty good there for a while. He stopped for a bit, but yeah. Okay, does anyone, you don't have to, but does anyone want to be brave and share what their 3 are going to be? Sorry? Social media. So starting to engage more in social media. Right, so work in the database at a higher level. Yeah, it's loud. Anyone else want to share what they're going to do? Gemma?
I'll do 3, which is skill of connecting, because I'm horrible at actually following people. So I know, I'm like, oh, okay.
We all do things we don't like to do for business, right? Except for me.
Yes, keeping our mindset, so getting into more podcasts and people follow, and then take a look at what the competitors are doing.
Yeah, so analyze your competition, see how you stand out, right? Awesome. Do you have?
I'm gonna work on the 2 scripts again.
Yeah.
Practice that method of 30 days.
Right.
The season fall pretty quick.
It is. And it's about creating that habit, right? You know, your first day, you're going to be no problem. You're motivated. You're going to walk out of here, do it right then and there. I'm going to write the script out. But tomorrow, so again, it goes back to you got to almost incorporate that into the schedule, right? So sticking with a schedule, it kind of almost relates to that, right? Yeah. Just giving your 2 cents, right? We all love giving our 2 cents to people. So why not make it strategic, right? Yeah. Anyone else want to share anything? All right. Well, I hope you guys all took something from this that you can incorporate right away into your business that you're going to be able to go execute on. That's the number one thing. The top performers out there, the number one thing is they take a skill and they execute. So go execute, make the rest of this year. If you're behind on your goals, it's time to execute at a high level because there is opportunity to take market share in the market we're in right now. And I would say start now, even though we're still in the summertime, because the practice you put in place now will show up in your results 30 to 90 days from now. And guess what? We only have 4 more months left before the year is over. Because remember, December doesn't count. All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.